Where's that special? There we go. There, you cheeky devil. There we go. Bait special 1 again. That's the way to do him. Right, we want that L1 again. Give us that L1. Lovely. Oh no, physical resistance. That's okay. That's fine. L1 again. And then go down. And then let's finish him off with an L3. Mr. Perfect, but doesn't matter. No way! He's still alive! Oh no, we're not having that. Doesn't matter. Game over, bitch! Right, to kick things off with these 4-star signature stones from earlier quests completed. A good amount there of stuff. I think in particular I'm looking forward to getting definitely some cosmics. Really improving King Groot. I'm really enjoying my King Groot at the moment. So that'll go into him. Mutants, I'm not sure. Probably going to improve regeneration onto Wolverine because I'm using him a lot more for attack nowadays. Which is kind of odd. Do you think I would be a big fan of using him for kind of most of my content that I fight with? But nope. Okay, this is the time, guys. Here we go. Okay, 720. Why is it such a significant number with regards to the Mystic Tier 4's fragments? I only need now probably about 180. So can I get 180 from this? No! What is going... Right, okay. Map 5. I know this is meant to be like an unboxing of like Master or whatever, but and like talking about the Master like quests and boss advice. But right, okay. There we go. Finally, it's happened. Yay me. I'm so excited now. I think I'm going to find a corner and just huddle there for a long time until I can get the rank up. But yay, got that final tier 4 mystic that I've been so desperately waiting for. And now let's open the 5-star signature stones. I'm hoping for mystics and cosmics. Make my 2 lead characters as powerful as possible. No, not mutants. God's sake. But I suppose in some ways it's good. If I manage to get an awakening on my storm, then that's going on there. That's going to make a spicy meatball. Next one. Another skill and mutant at the moment. It seems to be what I seem to be getting, which is a bit annoying because I don't have an awakened 5-star skill, and eventually when I get one, then it will go on it. Science. Great. Well, I suppose that can go on something. And I'm going to pop the last 2. Dear. It's not... the cosmic's good. That'll go on to Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel even. But yeah, just lacking those mystics. Really would like some more mystics to put on my Dormammu. But hey ho, it's all good. So let's talk about the bosses on each individual master mode and my kind of thoughts on, you know, what may be the best strategies for each, as well as some other kind of helpful info. Starting off with Medusa, the first mission. Now, I did thoroughly enjoy playing against Medusa. Unfortunately, I really didn't like the fact that she was the first one we face off against, because she seems to be better to be for harder content within the game. I'm not saying that Kingpin isn't hard, but the fact that you've got a champion that's got this kind of aspect with kind of armor break, we've got the kind of the auto like parry, auto kind of block system in place. I found that would have been a little bit more difficult for the end game stuff, and it really kind of puts us back into the kind of previous kind of bosses back about, I don't know, several months ago. And Azkaban, we're kind of moving towards putting in a new game mode that's maybe a little bit more difficult in future, but kind of gives better rewards. Like, I don't know, the way that we had Master Mode put in last time, maybe an Insane Mode is being put in, or something that is going to increase the difficulty, and not a lot of players will be able to complete, but some will be able to complete, but the rewards will be better. But going back to the thoughts on what to use against this champion, because it's all about auto blocking and stuff, and auto parrying and things like that, maybe opt for champions like Civil War, Black Panther, anything that bleeds, class advantages. But yeah, I just think that this champion should have been used in like more harder content, just like towards the end of Master Mode, as opposed to right here, because it just would have made it a little bit more challenging. Second boss is Hyperion, and obviously this is all about the fact that this character does get all or nothing, and also stun immunity, which is kind of a cool concept and does make this champion a little bit more difficult. Again, it maybe to make it a little bit more challenging would have been best to kind of put it towards the end of it, making it more for kind of a formidable boss. But you know, you still can use against, if you're struggling, that is, you can use characters like Dormammu, you can use Magic. You can use any champion that has a decent power stealing, even like your Ultrons, not Ultrons, your Visions even, Visions Age of Ultron I should say, that's obviously the more common one, and you know, that can be used against this one, so maybe one I'd recommend for that. So yeah, again, champion I would have liked to have had further on, so it would have been the next two that we're going to see. I probably would have preferred those to be the first bosses that we face off, and then these two that we've just talked about in the more kind of midway, if not to the end, with regards to difficulty. The next boss is Joe Fixit. Not a formidable boss in any case, but the advantage that the champion has cow drops is a little bit frustrating. But it's, you know, if you put the right champions in, it's not going to be too much of a problem. Anything that's kind of going to put in a lot of bleed could be quite good. Just remember, avoid dashing back. If you don't have any kind of champions that are going to be good for this situation, then make sure to stand your ground. You may have to take a being hit, but it just largely depends on your kind of skill level. Obviously, a lot of people will be able to avoid this, no problem. But yeah, have fun, but also remember that heal block is going to be a bit of a nuisance, and anything that you want to swipe back, you know, please be careful. It may even be an option to kind of take off your dexterity, but the choice is really yours. If you're struggling with this one, it's all about kind of bleeding out as much as he's going to bleed you, and maybe avoid champions that you know, are a bit spongy. So anything that's kind of like bleed immune, those kind of things, may be a little bit helpful for the situation. Next champion that we're going to face off against the next boss is Vulture, and I like this aspect of putting defensive in. And that doesn't mean that a champion's invincible or frustrating because he's not moving so much, but it does mean there's ways around it. You can coerce some out of this. You know, if you've got Juggernaut or you've got Rhino, then you've got that unstoppable or unblockable from Rhino in particular. And when you're hitting out, it just means that you will have to go full ham into it. But it's like, it depends how kind of defensive the character is. Sometimes it's not always, it does say defensive there, but sometimes they're not as defensive as they kind of let on. Obviously, if you've got any bleed champions, then you're just going to bleed them to death. But if you've got you know, you're really trying to get into it, and you're not really kind of understanding what champions to use against certain characters, then you can diversify what you use. And obviously that's the big thing with Marvel Contest Champions at the moment, is diversifying the champions you use. So yeah, Juggernaut with that unstoppable, and also we've got Rhino with that unblockable and unstoppable, and you're just kind of going at a freight train, dash attack over with a Rhino, and then it's just keep hitting into that point where you're unstoppable. And obviously if you get an unblockable, that's great, but you could even just like come back, go in until you eventually get an unblockable, and then start your sequence of attacks. And obviously you can't go wrong with Juggernaut. As soon as you hit in like an L1 and you get that unstoppable, then just go full ham into it, and you don't really have much to worry about. And obviously loads of different champions to use with that. Watch out for the every 6 hits inflict stun, the martial mastery, and obviously Captain the Civil War Black Panther could be helpful for that, obviously, because we've got that special ability. As soon as you get armor up and he hits you, and on the 6 and you're stunned, then obviously boom, you're gonna hit out. But obviously 6 seconds is a bit hard to kind of gauge with regards to that, so maybe not an option there. Right, so they made Hood a little bit more interesting. Unfortunately, he's not 100% amazing in this, as the penultimate boss. Yeah, he's a bit spongy, so it's like you can bleed him to death. However, though, bleeding and punishing someone for bleeding, then I would like to use Guillotine for this. And obviously, there's going to be lots of different champions that you could potentially use. This enemy regenerates 1% health permanently. And then we've got Bane, we've got Stun Vulnerability, which is something obviously you need to try and exploit. Obviously handy if you're using characters like Hulk, but obviously you have to make sure that when you do the perma-stun, or if you're able to pull off the perma-stun, then it will mean that you'll be able to kind of hit in with that, which hopefully would balance out the kind of the recovery aspect from Hood. But I probably would go for Guillotine really, because you can punish against that health. And also with Bane on top of that, if you're consistently hitting through in a stun, then you're damaging on a whole host of different levels, and it's going to be pretty darn nice. But there are so many other champions to use, but I just probably would prefer to punish them a bit more. So look for that Ghost Rider. You know, there's so many different champions to kind of use for this. I think I tried using my Dormammu against him, and that was okay-ish. I just think that I could have ended the fight a little bit more sooner. But hey-oh, there's different kind of ways and methods of kind of doing it, whether or not you bleed them. But I like Guillotine. I like the aspect of using Guillotine against punishing Hood for his regeneration. So one thing I tried to do with this end boss in the shape and form of Kingpin is not use champions that, and we saw in the fight to start off with, I used Captain Marvel, and I chose to use that champion because she doesn't have quite so many debuff effects. Actually doesn't have any debuff effects. So champions that had debuff effects, I'm finding were kind of fueling this champion to make him a lot more powerful. Obviously, if you're familiar with his signature ability, it basically means that if we kind of fuel him with those kind of debuff effects, it's going to be in his favor. I've not had too many bad experiences fighting this guy, except for once, and that was when the character got unstoppable when he started off the match. I'm kind of trying to keep my distance when the enemy is a lot more, the AI is a little bit more quicker. It's sometimes like, it's not, you know, you can be the best player in the world, but sometimes when the character gets like a whole cycle of unstoppable, which kind of lasts, you know, a matter of seconds, and a matter of seconds for like a decade of you just trying to get away from being hit, can be a bit frustrating. The L2 is a bit of a pest, a bit of a pain. It may be an option to use champions that have got some sort of absorption to them, and because I think there's like a pulse with the L2, and that's where stuff like Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel come into being helpful for that situation, as well as being heavy hitters and decent when it comes to utilizing Fury, the kind of the power gains and kind of hitting in through. But a lot of champions can be more effective, especially those that don't have a significant amount of debuff effects that they apply on enemies. So look to maybe your old school usage of champions. You know, I don't want to say Kamala Khan out loud because it may be met with a lot of people going, "Oh my God, you are so wrong. Shut the hell up." But the character doesn't have too much debuff effects, so therefore it's, you know, maybe better for this situation. And obviously, like we did in the start of the video, trying to kind of avoid that L1. Don't push it to L2 if you can, because it's more of a kind of a pulse cannon from his cane. It can be a little bit of a pest, so it's all about the L1, and kind of treat it as it's gonna come at you with a kind of an upswing of the cane. So 2 to 3 dashes or a hard evade away could be enough, but do watch out, because sometimes I've kind of messed up with regards to the reach of that cane. So I give it as plenty distance as possible, just to be safe. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So there we go. That was the Master Quest, a really fun and enjoyable quest. A few difficult things here or there, but mainly a little bit of trickiness with regards to Kingpin, and when he gets that unstoppable at the start of the game. That can be really frustrating, especially with regards to, like I said, the way that the AI moves. It can be a bit of a nuisance, even if you try to kind of nullify that effect. It's just a bit annoying. But apart from that, really enjoyable. But it does feel that Kabam are pushing towards putting in some really harder content. I don't know if it's going to be something like Insane Mode, like I said, or kind of a new mode. But I think with the addition of 6 stars, it's going to make the Master Mode just so much more easier. So therefore, they've got to put harder monthly event content in, which is going to be cool in any case to kind of get some more kind of resource and things. So expect these rewards to kind of increase with another section. And so the biggest worry is if we look over to this this kind of left-hand side here, right underneath where I'm clicking here, Heroic and then Master. Imagine if then there's going to be like an insane, a totally insane, a completely ridiculous mode just coming down in sections here, because it looks like there is space, guys. Like, you know, you just look at how many. Like, we're 1, 2, 3, 4 there. You can probably fit another 4 down there. So, you know, this is probably what's going to happen in the future. I'm not predicting it, but it's just one of these things where it looks fairly logical if they're going to put that there in the future. But who knows? Who knows? Anyway, thanks very much for watching this video on Master Mode. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, subscribe for more Marvel Contest of Champions based content. And as always, I shall catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye for now.